Hey, Anthony, you there?
Yeah, man. What's happening?
Hey, man. Hey, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on here today. Zoom is a little crazy and it's only letting me go live on YouTube. And so, but, but what we'll do is we'll record everything and we'll have it. We can post the video here in
Yep,
just a little
yep.
while. So I'm going to hit
Trying
the
to get
record
my.
button.
There we go. Okay, camera. Well, maybe not.
Dude, I tell you what, man, here
There we
lately,
go.
it's like every time I've been using I use Zoom pretty regularly, like a few times a week, and I feel like lately it's like every
Dude, it
time
did
as
to
the
me, dude.
host.
Like my account keeps saying like it's limited, and dude, I have a professional account. I don't know either, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I got the like upgraded account. And
People are
for some
using
reason it's
Google. People are using Google Chat,
really
or whatever. And I know a lot of people are starting to use that right now. So might be something worth looking at. And I could tell you, I started using Descript. And Descript's been pretty good too, man. It's got this live streaming portion that it does. And what I like about Descript is that it literally transcribes the whole entire thing. As
really,
you're speaking,
dude, that's super
it's
cool.
transcribing.
Yeah, I got to. Yeah, I'm gonna message after this is over, man, and maybe we'll try to get set up on something different. Maybe we'll try to get set up on something different next week. And be a little more organized. But this is the first one, so it happens like that sometimes. But
Yep, totally.
so we're live on YouTube officially here, and we're live with me and you here, and I'm going to hit the record button now. So now we're recording too. So hey man, how you been?
Pretty good, man. How you been?
Oh, pretty good, dude. I know we've been working hard on a lot of stuff and working on a plan to build a larger team and across the country. And the company we're working with is growing pretty quick and building pretty quick. And
Man, fun times, fun
man,
times.
a lot of exciting stuff. And then on top of that, we're doing this at a time where interest rates are over 8% now. And man, yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the real estate. Um,
It's the way you look at it,
exciting
man. I
time to
can
be in
tell
the
you,
real estate business right now.
it really is. This is when people, I don't think, recognize, man. This is when you add your zeros. This is when you grab market share. This is what Warren Buffett talks about: be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. And right now, I did a webinar yesterday. They were talking about, the NAR, a suit and everything. And this lady, I don't know who she was, man. It was a broker here in the Florida Panhandle where I live, and it was literally doom and gloom, skies falling, life's gonna suck. I mean, I'm looking, holy shit, lady, like what is wrong with you? But that's a narrative, man, that we continue to project right now. And right now I am, man. I'm looking for those gladiators to come in and go to war. I mean, literally, this is the opportunity to go to war and grab, land or business that others are just leaving away. It's like something we did with Zillow, man. We do a massive ad spend on Zillow. I'm talking 800 to $1 million a month on Zillow. And you know how we got that, Jason? Our people's credit cards were declining. People were opting out. And man, we were able to grab these, exclusive zip codes that have not been available for 10, 12, 15 years with Zillow. We have them now.
Yep. You know what, man? That's one thing that I didn't understand. I don't understand agents doing, and that's one thing that I've done over the years that fortunately is keeping your expenses in line. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of agents doing this over the last couple of years
Mm-hmm.
where what they're doing is they're taking and they got these massive Zillow bills every month, right? As
Yep.
individual agents, like $10,000. And that bill is coming and that bill is going to charge their credit card whether they're ready for it or not.
That's what
You
happened. They
know?
started declining, dude. I mean, they literally, but that's
Yep.
something that, the CEO of our company, man, what he saw, obviously he owned a company named Listing Power Tools. And he said 2007, 8, 9, what he noticed then is what he's noticing now is that the credit card started declining. Like, our Listing Power Tool pack used to be a pay to play. Like you had to buy it. And it was, and he said, man, the credit cards are declining. And again, that's what it is. I mean, like right now, people's credit cards are declining in the real estate business. So it is a time to be smart. It's a time to be efficient, but it's also time to double down. And that's what we're doing. You know, we're literally doubling down on the opportunity right now, because if you do it right now and you can succeed or break even right now, 2025, 2026, 2027, man, it's going to be lightning years. That's how I built my entire real estate company. You know, I started in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina, and I rode the wave all the way to 2010 and 11. And that's when interest rates went down. Shit boomed. We boomed for, 2 decades during that process.
Dude, you know what? I was actually the same way. I really got started full time in 2004. And fortunately for me, like I got in and I got this really interesting environment, right? I was working this office, similar situation, growing like crazy. This was like the heyday of Keller Williams growth, right?
Yep.
So everything that went on in the office was super exciting, man. And I remember there's this little guy in the back. We were at an office meeting and they give us the chance to talk about our new listing. And there was this little guy in the back. His name was David, and he was this just little short guy from up north, and he had this really northern Boston sort of accent. And he would talk about listings that he got, or listings that he got like that week, and it was like, wow, this guy would have 5, 6, 7 listings.
Yep.
And at the time I was a brand new agent. And I was going, how much mail is this guy sending out? Because everything I knew about the real estate industry revolved around mail, right? So I was like, dude, this guy must be spending $5,000 a month in mail. And I followed the guy out the room, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing to get all these listings? What are you doing? And he goes, man, well, what I do is I call people that want to sell their house, and I ask them to list their house with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, the light bulb went off. I was like, holy shit, wait a second. You mean that's all you do? You just call people and go, hey, you got a house for sale? And I sell houses. And he's like, yeah. And so he let me borrow his Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat on VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And at the time, the market was going crazy. I mean, it was just like what we went through. Like you listed a place, and I remember, dude, me and my brother closing on a condo for $109,000, oceanfront condo, and literally 3 months later, we painted it, replaced the pictures in it, and sold it for $199. Right?
Yep.
And it was like that all over the place. People were tying up places, just flipping them. Very similar to the market that we're like exiting right now, right?
Yep.
And it was like that for pretty much till 2007, beginning of 2008. Yep. And interest rates started to creep up. And what I remember, and it's different than what we're going through right now, what I remember, man, is once interest rates hit about 7%, it was like somebody pushed the emergency brake in your car. And we went from going, 75, 80 miles an hour to 3 miles an hour, like within seconds.
Yep.
And then the market started just the house of cards started to fall. And so I was really thinking that once we hit 7% here, that we would see something similar. But the difference is we didn't have the rental demand that what we have now. We didn't have Airbnb, and we didn't have a lot of the stuff. We didn't have COVID stimulus and all this stuff. And for a lot of you guys don't know, a lot of that stuff just ended.
That's happened. What's happened to me is, so I didn't see the actual downturn that a lot of people saw across America. I was selling in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and everybody probably remembers 2005 Hurricane Katrina came, wiped out the city of New Orleans, and man, as other economies were crashing and burning, Louisiana, South Louisiana in particular, man, we had billions of federal dollars being pumped into our economy. And then I moved, I lost my home in Hurricane Katrina, 20 feet of water, had to move to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I wasn't a full-time real estate agent then. I was still in the Army. But when I moved to Baton Rouge, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this full-time real estate thing. And I was lucky because literally the money was being dumped in. SBA was giving people loans with no appraisals. I mean, 2% interest rates. And so literally people were buying houses 30, 50, 100,000 over asking. SBA approving them. Dude, we sold a shit ton of homes. I mean, so it is, that's what we were talking about yesterday. We did an event yesterday here in Panama City Beach, and it's like there is opportunity in disaster. And that's the mindset part of it. You need to have the mindset to think that way. I mean, literally, yeah, right
Yep.
now, between interest rates, between, all these problems, it's the sky's falling for people, especially with the NAR thing. I mean, if anything, with NAR, in my opinion, and I really haven't worked this out dynamically yet, but I mean, if that's the case, you know what? You got to get really good at listing houses, really good at
Yep.
listing houses. But even then,
And that's
I don't know if that's the answer, though, to be honest with you, because the fact is, it may be, but 9 times out of 10, those buyers, I don't know if they want to do it. And some states don't allow dual agency, so it's a really interesting
yeah,
dynamic that's unfolding right now.
it is.
But I could tell you where I know for a fact, regardless of how this pans out, you should be taking more listings. You should be taking an obnoxious amount of
Oh
listings.
yeah.
We got to a point in New Orleans, man, where literally we were like, you know what? We're taking every listing. Like, we've tried that. We've taken the ones where we stayed very strict and we're not going to list a penny over what we say. We've taken it to where we just took listings because we took them all. We did not give a shit. You want 100,000 over asking? Great. Let's do it. So that's determining what you want to do in your
Well,
business. But the fact is, listings win. Simple. It's simple.
well, man, the thing that I see right now is we're going to this thing. Zillow is crazy priced, right? For an
Mm-hmm.
individual agent, it's
Right.
crazy priced. Um, the whole lead generation business is crazy priced. So as agents, I think the way that we win the next couple of years is everybody that had a big SEO budget, pay-per-click budget, they're going to go away, right?
Yep.
Zillow, people paying $5,000-$10,000 a month, they're probably going to get. I don't want to say they're going to get caught by the market. I don't wish bad things on people, but they got this $5,000-$10,000 bill coming, and all of a sudden they're not closing deals like they were.
Yep.
So Zillow's going to come down, but the agents that are really going to win are the ones that go out there and create that lead generation source for
And
themselves.
absolutely, and I think literally, my belief is that the team agents, the
Self-sufficient.
mega teams, we're gonna it's gonna be tough for
Mhm.
independent agents to compete against mega teams. You look at
Yes, it
right now,
is.
teams are emerging. Like, we have a massive team here in the Florida Panhandle. Dude, they've done merged with 3, 4 other teams. Like, they're making super teams now, and
Oh yeah,
it's really interesting. They're making it hard for the independent agent to compete. And that's something that I like we've
they
done,
are.
man. We've taken the like these mega teams, we're buying the crazy ass zip codes for Zillow, the Y Lopos, the Ojos, and things like that. And then what's really kind of neat, what I like what we've done, man, by buying, like, we literally, I said, we're at the 800 to $900,000 a month ad spend for Zillow, and we're giving those leads back to our agents. And that's really a cool thing. Like, we have the home value platform. It's something neat. We're only testing this in a few markets in Florida and Texas. But the fact is, if you are an independent agent and you don't have the means or the work to do it, to compete against these mega teams, like, you go in a listing appointment and you literally got the Smith Group doing 600 million in volume with 75 agents, and then I mean, look, I can
Mhm.
tell you,
Yeah.
you better be really good with your objection handlers, talking about how you get them personal, hand white glove experience versus, there's always a script to handle big teams. But I can tell you, like, their marketing's more than you, their budget's bigger than you, they got more people. Like, one day I ran a big team, I'm like, man, look, our 25 agent team literally canvases the neighborhoods with flyers and door knockers for you 2, 3, 4 times a week. We're going to sell you home. They'd say, and then some people who are just an independent agent saying, "Oh, less is more." I don't believe that. I am a mega agent team guy. I like that concept. I think we do more with others. I like building a team around it. So it's something that, as a real estate agent, you got to get serious and look at, what is your goal? What are you going
I
to
like
do?
the
How are
ability
you
to
going to
share
stand up?
resources.
Yep. Yep.
I like the
Yep.
ability to share resources like you and I've talked about, for an individual agent to go out there and create that internet presence and that SEO presence and all that stuff now. It's tough if they're starting at zero,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Really tough.
And
Guarantee no money if
and
you don't have a
create
budget.
videos.
Yeah.
But if you get plugged into one of these larger teams, um, and you can plug into their SEO, their service, like your Beach and Homes network, why not do it?
Yeah.
like why not do it? But I guess the biggest thing though I want to talk about today is, let's just say you are an agent out there and you don't have these resources that me and you have talked about. You don't have this big team to fall back on. Your office isn't spending hundreds of $1,000s a month, but you got leads out there, and you got leads coming in. You got, maybe you're on Red X, you're subscribed to Zillow, and I mean, not Zillow, but expired for sale owners and whatever else. You know, right now when a lead comes in that's a capable buyer, um, you literally have to go out there and do everything you can to make sure that deal closes. And you got to be extra diligent with buyers, but you got to be extra diligent with sellers too. Everybody listen to this, man. If you're not going out there and like really educating your sellers on interest rates right now,
Mhm.
and educating your sellers on with a sense of urgency, you're costing your clients money.
Yep.
Because that house right now the house that would sell for 250 6 months ago is really at 225 today. Maybe it's at 200. And so that seller, if you would have listed the house 3 months ago when you first saw it, when it first expired or first popped up as a for sale owner, you'd have followed up with them diligently. They truly would have made more money 3 months ago than they would have today.
Yep.
And if they wait another 3 months, dude, if they wait another 3 months, like what is going to happen? With values, I got a builder friend of mine. He's building a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 2-car garage. He told me last year he was selling it for 279.9, and he's here in the Myrtle Beach market. And today he's selling it for 239.9. And before he'd have a buyer before the house was finished. Now he's got inventory sitting on the market that he's built as spec homes that he's got people looking at, but their payment at 239.9 is higher than their payment would have been at 279.9 a year ago.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
So how do you that buyer lead that comes in, Anthony, that you generated online or that you got from Zillow or whatever it is, how do we nurture that lead? How do we follow up with them and make sure that you get them in there before rates are at 9%? What do we do?
Yeah. It's basic follow up, man. That's what people don't literally like. It was funny. I posted something on Facebook the other day and I asked people, what do you think I'm good at? Or what do you know about me? Or whatever it was. And people know me. I like drinking coffee and all that fun shit. But one guy said follow up. And that's literally been the key to my castle is follow up.
Yes.
For years, like I'll never forget, I was living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I had a big real estate team there, and this lady, and I can't remember to say her name to save my life, but she had a little house in somewhere in Baton Rouge, and I went and met with her, and she didn't list it, and I just kept up every few months, every few years, doing our thing, touching them, literally
Yep.
touching them, inviting them to events. Something massive is events because people need to get to know you, but before I did that, I would literally just call her, handwritten note cards. Sometimes when I'd call, I'd say, hey, Miss Smith, because I don't remember her name, it's great talking to you. And literally, I'd have a stack of handwritten note cards and just send them out to people. Well, let's fast forward to, I don't know, it was 3-5 years later. I moved back to New Orleans full time and had my real estate team and company. And she calls me out the blue. And I did. I tried to do an expansion team in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and it wasn't working. And I said, Miss Smith, I don't have my team there anymore, but I'll refer you to one of my friends. And she's like, and she's from New Orleans. She goes, oh no, Anthony. I said, what's wrong? She goes, I got 5 houses in the Marigny Triangle that I need to sell. And I'm like, what? And if you don't know the Marigny Triangle, it's right outside the French Quarter, a very expensive price point. This is when the market was starting to boom. And so it was like, and you got to think about that, guys. It's like, what can things turn into? Just because this lady had a little home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, if I wouldn't have kept up with her, and I would probably, in theory, I'd have said, oh, we don't sell Baton Rouge anymore. I'm not going to keep up with her, but it turned into this amount of business. So that is, you got to have a system in place and you got to have standards. And that's where I see it.
That follow-up, man, that made you, that was probably automated. She had 5 houses.
I'll tell you, Jason, I'm not
$200,000 a piece.
I'm not a big
You made 30
automated
grand off that lady.
Yeah, no, you did. But I'm not a big automated follow-up guy. It's something I was just talking to one of my agents because I use Follow-Up Boss now. And I use it rather extensively. And they're like, oh, well, tell me about your drip campaign and all that. And I'm like, damn, I don't have one. Like, I don't send I literally put on there follow up with Susie 3 weeks from now. And I just go through like every morning. Like this morning, I woke up and I got a list of 72 agents, 72 people to call, and that does take time. But I can tell you it works. Now, can you automate this? Absolutely. But the problem, I think, with automation, this is my problem and it's my opinion, but it's like when people think like social media, is going to control their business, or they're gonna explode just because of social media. And yes, you can do really well, but it's called social networking, a social network, and it's networking,
Yep.
and people miss that part. They literally post on Instagram and go.
Yep.
Connection's key. Okay. I used to jokingly say I did a podcast one time in Maryland. I was like, like when you go hit a like button and you just go and don't ever talk to the person, it's like going to a networking event. You tap the person on the shoulder and you just walk away.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah,
build a
exactly.
relationship. You never communicate with them. You got to get in front of people, and less is more. Less is more with this. You don't need. It's funny. I talk to agents all the time. I'm like, well, tell me about your buyer database. Oh man, I got 386,042 people in my buyer database, and they sound really fucking cool saying that. And I'm like, that's stupid. Like I could build a database for you of 100 buyers, and I guarantee you'll make more money. Because the fact is, you're giving people the personal experience. And right now, I believe the day and the time that we're in is that people need personal experience, personal touch.
Yep. Agree. And your emails, a lot of your emails, you got to beat the spam filter now.
Yeah, I don't email.
If you're
I
if you're
don't
sending
email, dude. I don't
if you're
email.
sending out man, if you're sending out text, we just learned this with FU bots. The thing that I got going on with Larry Lee
Yep.
is that you have to register your phone numbers
Yep. Yep.
for to send text or send mass text or automated text. And dude, it's a pain. It's a pain
It is.
to
Yep.
do and a pain to go through, and it takes a little bit of time. It takes about a week to 2 weeks to actually get through the whole thing to get your number registered. But in the past, my real estate business, I've been the same way as you, man. My CRM for years was a spiral notebook.
Yeah. I still have them to this
And
day. Yeah. And I've
and
really
you know
just
what?
shifted lately,
Yep.
Jason, to more of because I was using Top Producer. Top Producer was massive for us, and we went through all the damn systems and tools from Boomtown to Chime to Commissions Inc. to all of these. And so, yeah, but I've used them all, and a notebook's always been a very great way. I'll tell you, man, one day I lost my notebook.
Oh
And I'll
God.
tell you, when you lose your notebook, you're done,
You're F for sure. Dude, you know what, man? So this notebook, I'll tell you what I done was when I talked to sellers or even when I talked to a buyer, I would get somebody really good that I knew wanted to do something like in the next, say, 30 to 60 days. I'd write them down in my notebook. I would in the corner, if it was a listing and I thought their house was going to sell for $200,000, I'd write that in the corner, and then I'd write how much commission I'd make off of that lead if I listed their house and sold it, right? And so literally, man, it was super powerful and motivational for me because I'd show up to the office every morning with a notebook full of leads that I could follow up with, people I've already talked to, right? And these are easy ones. They already knew who Jason Morris was. A lot of them had already got my listing package. A lot of them had had a couple at least one good conversation with me. But I'd show up with my notebook and looking at the little corner where I'd wrote commissions on it and how much commissions I'd make. Dude, I'd basically show up with a notebook worth technically two, three, $400,000 sometimes, right?
that's what I
And
did. Like I started the
and
same way. I
dude,
did a binder, like that.
to start your morning going, okay, I got $250,000 worth of commission sitting in my book. I just got to go through here and
Mhm.
I've already identified the people. I just got to go through here and get them to sign up with me, right? I mean, man, talk about motivational
Well,
versus being the agent going there going, damn, I got to go to the office this
well,
morning. I'm gonna make calls and I don't even know who I'm
it's
gonna call today.
It's show me the money. It's funny. I had a meeting in Pensacola, Florida, and we were talking about like I do now focus a lot on agent attraction with the company that I'm building and all. But I was like, man, if you don't know the dollar amount behind what you're doing, your motivation is going to suck. It really is. And so we played in the meeting the other day, the Cuba Gooding Jr. with what's the movie? Showing Jerry Maguire.
Oh yeah, Jerry Maguire. Yep.
And you got to think about that. So like I used to do the same thing, man. Back before the internet was even a crazy thing, I used to print out for sale by owner site. It was called FSBOBR, Baton Rouge. I print out the
Yep.
website, and I would print the page, 3-hole punch it, put it in my binder, and call every single. That was my system. Call every single for sale by
Yep.
owner. Write my notes. Flip through. That was my system. And what I used to do, same exact thing, man, is I would add the dollar amount. When I had a decent conversation with that person, I'm like, oh, 3% commission, 15 grand, boom, boom, boom. And then I had it on
Yep.
my board. Now, progressing to getting more advanced, I went in and started using Mojo Dialer. I started, I'm an old school Keller Williams guy, like the bold sheet. And then I made my own
Yep.
version of the bold sheet. And what I would do then is that every single day we would take a screenshot. We got a little more electronic than we take because we were ticking it on our iPads. But at the end of the day, I'd had everybody send me a screenshot of their sheet. And at the bottom of it, we always put potential income. And
Yep.
if you go, like, I have to find it, man, you go look at my Facebook, but I used to post these. And dude, there was days where I had 16 contacts, 3 appointments set, 40 contacts, one, whatever it was. I mean, dude, you add up that and then you tally that at the end of the week. And that's the problem. People don't even know the amount of money that they could potentially make if they keep working this hard. Another thing I
Yep.
talk to agents about all the time, man, is that if you don't, you got to know, you got to show yourself the money. Because the fact is people are scared to death of phones. They don't want to make phone calls. And I can tell you to this day, prospecting is still, I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's probably one of the best models because you're building
Yep.
relationship. I had somebody going back and forth with me the other day about the videos. And granted, look, I'm going to tell you, YouTube videos and things like that is amazing. There's no doubt, but there's a difference. Yeah, there is a difference in what you build because, but the fact is, does it work? Now, what if and I feel like everybody gets pigeonholed on one thing. What if you did both? What if you recorded all these videos like these guys are doing the living in channels, but then you also call them? And so what I started doing, like I own a few brands like homesandbeach.com, homesandscity.com. And what I started doing was we're creating this badass content. We're doing homes for sale. We're doing living in Myrtle Beach, and talking about this content. And then we started calling Myrtle Beach listings and said, hey, what if we featured your home on homesandbeach.com? And like, oh, what is that? And I said, well, go check it out. Go to homesandbeach.com. What if we featured your home on there? Would that interest you? Would that help you maybe list with us? And people are like, holy shit. Yeah, why not? So you got to
Yep.
bring more. And again, right now in this time in the business, this time in the industry, you better increase your value. What is your we talk about your TVP, team value proposition. What is your TVP? What's your, I do network value proposition. What's your value proposition to these people? And you got to set
Yep.
yourself out above the competition right now. And it starts with talking to the person,
It does.
starts doing more. But if you do that and you put like literally, you go get yourself a Red X account and you just start calling people. I mean, and then you also on top of that building out content. Gary Vee says it, content's king. There's no freaking doubt it is. But guess what? If nobody sees it, it doesn't matter. Where people, I think, mess up, Jason, is they put this content on Facebook. Nobody on Facebook gives a shit that you sold 4 homes last week. No one. Okay.
Nobody.
No one. Because but the fact is, if you take that content and you twist the messaging a little bit and you put it on a YouTube or even a TikTok right now, and then you share that with this potential seller, that's the ones that give a shit. That seller does not follow you on Facebook. That seller may find it really cool on YouTube. Like, oh, wow, Bob's crushing it. I need to hire Bob. And so, I mean, it's just a funny dynamic. But all this said and done, Jason, is that real estate agents do all this other weird shit because they like to make themselves feel busy. That's all they want to
Oh,
do.
dude, without a doubt, man. It's the only business I've ever been a part of, at least, where it's easy to be a workaholic. And
All
it's
right, so,
easy to it's easy to say, you know what,
and
dude,
make no money. You
I'm
can be a
only going to do
workaholic and make
this.
no money.
Oh yeah, dude, there's agents out there working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, and can't pay their light bill this month. They're having to borrow money and put it on
I've
a
been there
credit
before
card.
in the business, dude. I mean, believe me. I
Yeah,
think we've all been there. And it's
I
like, what the
have.
hell did I just do this last month?
I will tell you what, man. I don't know how. Maybe it's because maybe I'm just cheap. I don't really know. But thank God, I've always been one of these people that I've always made sure I had X number of dollars in the bank. And even when things were tough, I was like, man, my account is lower than what I'd like. So, what I need to do is I need to prospect on Saturday. I need to
Yeah,
prospect on
dude, right?
Sunday. I need to
Right.
follow up my people harder.
I wouldn't
And
do
and those
Sunday, but you're
people,
right. Saturday. I mean, dude, it was shocking to me back in my old
yep,
Keller Williams days. I was the only agent in the office on a Saturday making phone calls. And you know what's
yep,
cool about Saturday, Jason? People are home.
dude, you know
People
what?
are home.
It's great we're actually doing this today because this weekend time changes. So if you're in a state where time changes, dude, and you're
Yeah.
like on it, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, you're on top of it. And you're making your calls like you should, dude. There's a lot of people that are going to be home a little bit earlier if you're going to make calls in the afternoon. They're going to be home a little earlier because it gets dark. But then the thing that we got going on is we're heading into the holidays. So really, starting in about, let's see, it's the third today. Um, Starting in what, 2 weeks, man, dude,
Yep.
everybody's gonna be off for the rest of the year.
And
So
dude, it started with Halloween. It started with
yep,
Halloween, and I had a lot of single moms on my team and young parents and things like that. And unfortunately, it is life gets interesting because you have kids at home like during the summer. My office was a ghost town sometimes, but the fact is, you're right. I used to jokingly say this: after Halloween, agents turn off.
dude,
I
they turn
used to
off.
have I used to have literally January was the best months I would have in real
Yep.
estate. You know why? Because nobody else wanted the business. I would be extremely proactive, working hard on the business and literally dominate in January because everybody quit. Everybody quit.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? It's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's Halloween. We're done.
Yep.
And dude, we
But you know
would
what, man?
dominate.
The buyers looking in November, December
Yep,
are serious about buying, right? If
absolutely.
we got somebody coming to Myrtle Beach in December to
They're
look
they're
at
very
condos,
serious, right? If
they're
they're
very
moving,
serious, right?
they're crazy serious.
And and you guys that are in snow states, right? The states that get cold. Me and Anthony, thank God, we're in warm states, dude. I don't know how people deal with snow. Like I don't know how you guys do it, but if you're in one of these states and you guys get 2 feet of snow on the ground, I
Shut
know that
down.
people say, "Oh, well, sales stop in the winter here." Dude, pull up your MLS. Sales are still going on.
It's still going
Like,
on.
look at last year. Yeah, look at December, January. If you're in New York, New Jersey, Maine, you know, wherever, Michigan, whatever, pull up sales last year, and there were sales happening in December and January. And I guarantee you that buyer that's going out there trekking through 2 feet of snow to look at that house
Yep.
for sale, they're pretty serious about that
Oh yeah,
house.
they're very serious.
Um,
And
and
that's
and
what, Jason,
guys,
a lot of people don't even know how many houses they need to sell to even pay their bills. That's the
oh
scary
God,
part
man,
about
that could
this. It's like
be
they
a
they
call
don't
by
even know.
itself.
Right. I mean, literally, like, people tell me, oh, I need to sell 10 homes a month. I'm like, when's the last time you sold 10 homes a month? Never. When's the last time you sold 10 homes a year? Oh, well, I haven't yet. And that's okay. But the fact is, don't sit here and bullshit me and tell me you're going to sell 10 homes next month.
Dude,
One, you're not even doing the work. And then two, you don't even know how much 10 homes a month is. I mean, that you go from making zero money a month to what, 150, 200 grand a month,
mm-hmm.
And I asked
You're
them,
making real money.
do you need 200 grand a month? No. I'll tell you, God honest truth in this business right now, if you making $200,000 a year, okay, God honest truth, you're probably doing pretty damn okay. And I can tell you another God honest truth fact is that you could somewhat easily, with a good amount of work, make $200,000 a year doing this.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt, you can make 200 grand a year. You know what's interesting? I learned this coaching agents. So I learned that some of the most basic things out there are things that a lot of agents struggle with. And one of them is that they haven't taken and figured out like how much money they need to make, right?
Absolutely. At all.
And
At all. They don't have a clue, dude.
they haven't figured it out. So if they need to make $100,000 a year to live the lifestyle they want to live, right? And $100,000 is not much in 2023.
Oh,
um,
God.
but let's just say it's 100,000 a year, right? And you break that down, that is a little bit over $8,000 a month. Let's just say $8,500 a month, dude. Right now, where prices are, that's one sale, two sales, and you're there.
Yep.
Even if you're in a
Yep.
cheap
Yep.
market, two sales.
Yep.
And I think we're in the greatest time. But guys, if you have that buyer that's truly wanting to look right now and they're on the hook, first thing I would do is get them pre-qualified. I
Yep.
do my best to get them over to a lender and get them figure out what they can afford, because interest rates doubling, what they can afford has definitely changed versus a year ago. And
Mhm.
but work those people as hard as you can. Stay in contact with them. Try to follow up with them with an open, helping heart. You
Yep.
know,
And that's it,
and
Jason. Like,
sellers too.
people don't even realize how much like time they put into buyers. It's something that I was talking about a few months ago. Is like, you got to look at how much money you can make and how much time you spend with that person. So let's just
Yep.
say, the average buyer is 20 hours. If you looked at between showing, between writing contracts, between all this, it's 20 hours. Okay. Let's say it's 40 hours. 40 hours. Okay. So that means you put in a solid week's work with one buyer, 40 hours, and it may be more. It all varies. But the fact is, if you make 10 grand right now, if I was going to pay you $10,000 a week to work with me, guess what? You would do some crazy shit. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You would be
That
busy. Yeah.
yeah.
Your
But the
40
fact
hours
is
would
that
be full.
people don't look at it that way. They look at it and it's like they're not willing to put in the right amount of work because they don't know the numbers to get a buyer. Instantly,
Yep.
we hear buyers are liars. Yeah, maybe so. But guess what? Do the math. And I tell you, you want to get really crazy? Go do the math on a listing. Because like I do
Dude.
this all the time. I tell people, I say, man, you working with Bob the buyer? How many hours you going to show him? When we do the math, man, it's like 20, 30, 60, 80 out, 100 hours you put into a buyer. You know how many hours you put into a listing?
Oh God,
Two,
two or three. Yeah,
four.
2 or 3.
So you go
Four.
from making, $1,000 an hour with a buyer or $500 a buyer an hour with a buyer to 5,000 an hour with a seller. Work smart,
Yep.
not hard. And I can tell you, man, if you realize that, but again, people are so scared to make a phone call for a listing. It is nuts because guess what? That listing, you will dominate the industry with that listing if you do that. You will have
Yep.
so much more time. You'll be so much more efficient. You'll be making so much more money. But again, I don't like listings. I like buyers. Okay, great. You must not like money. You must not like your family. Okay, because your family, trust me, I have been there, won't like you if you do that for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They won't. Okay. And
Dude.
that's what people need to wake up. And then think about, man, the amount of like, people talk about marketing and advertising and branding. There is nothing better than a fucking sign in the yard.
Yep.
Nothing.
That's great.
You go spend all
Yep.
this money on billboards, you spend all this money on social media posts and things like that. There is nothing better than a sign in the ground.
Yep. Dude, so with that being said, dude, let's I'll tell you about the story of me personally, and this relate to everybody else. And so me and you, we're friends, and you know this. I got 2 kids. I got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old that I take care of.
Yep.
And so my work day got cut really short a while back,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And personal reasons and stuff, my work day got cut really short. And they do not make kids school schedules for a normal working person, right? I don't know how people do it, honestly, that
Unreal,
have
man.
regular
It's wild. You're right. You're
jobs.
right.
So what ends up happening for me is my kids have to be at school about 7:30, daycare and stuff. And now they got some afternoon school programs and stuff, but really they get out of school at 2:30. And they got an afternoon school program, so technically I don't have to pick them up till 5:30. But at the same time, uh, my day is very limited, and it's got to be kind of scheduled. And so one of the things that I thought about when I was because I literally took the real estate business and I used it to leverage myself into a rental portfolio to
Yep.
work myself out of the business, right? And
Right.
one of the things I was telling you when I moved my license and stuff, started working with you, was that I want to be more active again. I want to find more deals to buy. I want to find more rentals to buy. In the process, I'd like to list some property and sell some property. So like that amount of time I got, let's just say 6 hours a day, I got to be really diligent during that 6 hours a day, because once the kids get home from school, dude, that whole thing about,
Yep.
oh, I'll do it later, that don't happen,
Nope.
dude.
They don't.
That don't happen. They're doing this and that, and SpongeBob needs to get turned on, and Pikachu's doing whatever it is, and sometimes it's a little bit of chaos there, and so with that being said, my day is really limited. So what I've done the last couple of years is I've referred all my buyers out.
Yep.
Right. I'll have a conversation with them, and it's really a soft handoff to one of my team members already.
Yep.
Right. And so the only way that I can really go out there and make a lot of money doing real estate is to take listings.
Yep.
Right. And I can have a listing. I can have, just for example, I could have 10 listings. Right. And all 10 of those listings can get shown after 5 p.m. when I'm doing stuff with the kids, when we're riding our bicycle in the yard, when we're fishing in the pond in the backyard. All these listings can get shown. Now, if I had 10 qualified buyers or 10 semi-qualified buyers, right, they're serious and they want to go look at some homes, dude, I can't really show them homes until they get off work, number one. So, yeah, so it's going to be 5:36 or it's going to be the weekend before I can really show them a house. So the only way you can truly leverage yourself is through a team and you taking listings. Now, those listings, those 10 listings, what they're going to do is, I got 10 listings, I got 10 signs in the yard. They're going to generate buyers. And I don't know about you, man, but sign calls have always been the best buyer leads for me.
Yeah, it has.
That's
We
always
done
been
well
the
with
best
sign
buyer
calls.
lead.
And something we've actually implemented back in our business, man, is the texting.
Yep.
The lead capture. I could tell you that's what I believe right now, that the industry shifting back to old school stuff that really still works to this day. Like one big thing we're focusing on is text call system, capture systems. And what I like is, outside of the phone number, is because I actually get that person's information, like a phone number. You get it, they call, you miss it, it's not recorded. Who the hell was this that called me at 8:30 in the morning 3 days ago? I don't know who they are. And you go try to
I have no idea.
As a real estate agent, who gets 100 calls a day? So what we did, we put call capture back into play, man. Like literally our signs do not have our phone numbers on it. Our signs do not have our websites. Our sign has text 555 to this number to find out more about this property. And instantly, I mean, man, you want to tell you that right there, Jason, has been a game changer for us. And because what happens is real estate agents, they want to put the QR codes in their website, in their phone number, in their email, in their home address.
10 different options to contact.
And you can't. It's like less is more. Less is more. And this simple call, the simple call, it's the only way they can get it. They go there, they text it, they get the link to the property. You can track your marketing.
Yeah,
that's it. Yep.
You can track your marketing, if it's effective. And that's where, and you get the lead for sure.
And that's built into for our list, for our sellers. Our sellers know we do this for a very specific reason.
Yep. And that buyer, when you do get to talk to them, or when you do get to follow up with, actually, you don't even have to follow up with them. With that system you're talking about, you could immediately hand them right off to a buyer's agent. Their responsibility is to call and qualify them.
Absolutely. Right? And that's what I used to, Jason. I used to rely on my buyer's agent. So at one time I had like 22, 25 agents on my team. And that phone number would ring to all their phone numbers. I thought I was cool. Like, who gets it wins. Man, that was the dumbest thing ever. I mean, literally, they calling the person back. I'd have 15 real estate agents calling the person back, and then, okay, well, who got the lead? Where did it go? It's not in the system, So that worked, yes, but we've gotten a lot more efficient on that for sure.
Oh, yeah, man. But what we were talking about, you guys that have a limited schedule, you agents that do have a limited schedule, what you're going to have to start doing, or even if you don't have a limited schedule, you just want a life outside of like showing a piece of property.
Yep.
You're going to have to get smarter. You're going to have to get smarter with your leads. You're going to have to get smarter with your lead sources. You're going to have to build that team to hand those buyers off to. Hand that buyer off to that agent that is willing to go work on the weekends, that, doesn't have 10 places they got to take their kids this weekend. I swear, man, Saturdays are – my kids have more in their schedule than I do, I feel like. Right. But like that's the only way you can leverage it. So you can literally sit at home and prospect while your kids are at school or whatever you got going on, hand off your buyer leads, and you can build an enormous business like that and
Absolutely.
make good money.
That's what I do. I built that now, Jason, to where literally it's a almost 100% referral business. Because when I came and moved back to the Florida Panhandle, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna build something massive, like a big team again. And I decided I'm not going to do that. I build now a downline organization or a team like that to where I have a lot of referral partners and I organize it. And I can tell you, I now send out referral fees sometimes for 35 to 50%. So I'm actually making
Oh
more.
yeah.
I ran a team where I was doing 25%, begging these people. Now we somewhat nurture their person. I send it out. And it's funny because I have people, I'll test it just to see what I can get away with sometimes. Like, hey, I got this buyer. They're serious. We got them pre-approved, 50-50 split. You good with that? Yep. And that's been
Yep.
such a relief for me, because again, I don't want to have this crazy team that I have to worry about and about all these people where literally I've built this now to where I'm a lot more efficient and I can scale. Right now I have over 1,800 agent partners across the country, and I'm building this out to where I could offer a lot of leads to them.
Yep. I like what you're doing. It's going to create a self-sufficient ecosystem for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
And I like what you're doing with the team too. I went through that same thing, man, where I had these agents on my team, and to be on a team, you had to provide a little bit more resources. So at one time I had two assistants, and man, I really wasn't making any money.
Yeah,
I,
right.
and
Right.
then like I got super burnout. This was probably 2012. Got super burnout. Literally, I hate to get up in the morning. Dude, somebody would ask me about real estate, and I'd almost be like, "F you, man. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about no house. I hate houses, right?"
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And dude, like I said, I wasn't making near as much as anybody else thought I was because of the way my team was structured. And when I disbanded that team and went to that same system you're saying, where
Yep.
I was sending them out on a referral basis, and I was paying, I was getting anywhere 25, 35%. Sometimes I get 40%. Um, I was never doing 50%. Maybe I should have,
It's just
but
the right person.
dude, my
Yeah.
profit margin went up.
Yeah, it
My
did.
profit margin went up like
I
crazy.
mean, right now,
And
man, like other than my systems, Jason, that I've built in my time, right now, again, I essentially have a real estate team of 1,800 agents, and do
Mhm.
I make a small fraction of every piece of their sale? Yes, that's the way, our company has a revenue share model in place. But the fact is, my overhead is minimal. I mean, literally, I have a home office right here. I got a pretty cool computer set up. I got some tools. Do I have like a follow-up boss account and things like that? But dude, it's insane the margins again. And I was talking about this the other day with a bunch of agents. I used to be coach or buyer with Tony DeCello at some times, and he'd say, "Man, what do you run? What do you do? What are you?" And he's like, and everybody would ask, "Oh, I mean, everybody would say I'm a real estate agent." And we're not, man. We're business owners. I had yesterday I did a meeting in Panama City Beach, and I asked everybody in the room to raise your hand if you have a P&L for your real estate team, company, business, and no one raised their hand, and that
No one
blows my
had one.
mind to this day. That blows my mind.
Yep. It's interesting times we're in, man, and that's something different. It's going to be in this downturn that we didn't have last time. So last time Boomtown come out about 2008, 2009, and then Market Leader probably was somewhere around that same time too, right? And that was the
Yep.
first
Yeah,
like
market leader.
really good responsive. This is the first really good responsive CRMs. Before that, it was just Top Producer.
Yeah.
And dude, but it was expensive. I remember Boomtown was $1,500 for the
Dude, I was the
system.
first agent
Yep,
in New Orleans and Baton Rouge to get Boomtown, and I think it was
yep.
more than that. I think it was like 2,200, and we opened it above. I mean, because really the first CRM that I've ever used was Point Two. It was called, and it was this lead generation system where you can go to an agent in your office and say, "Hey, Jason, do you mind if I share your listing and on your Point Two site?"
Yep.
And I think they're still around, but that was the first one. And yeah, we went to battle with our board because they were not allowing agent level IDX access. It just wasn't a thing. And we finally got them to approve one feed per real estate agent for like the market leaders, the boom towns. And we did, man. We launched, and it was neat, bro. I tell you, the first day that I launched Boomtown in the city of New Orleans, I had 3,800 leads.
Oh
3,800
yeah. Dude,
first day.
I remember when I first uploaded mine into Boomtown, it was like, holy shit.
Right.
Um, but but now the thing is, like, if you want some, dude, there's hundreds of websites now that are comparable to
Too
Boomtown.
many.
They're
Yeah, too
probably
many.
even better. Dude, there's some guys in my market that have created a website system that is, I mean, literally they went out there and they saw features and stuff here and there, and they basically took everybody's great features and added to theirs. And but that technology is so cheap now to
It's
assist
free
you
for
in
most,
following up
like our
that it
company, dude.
wasn't.
I mean, our company, we
Yeah.
don't charge a monthly fee, and literally the CRM you get Chime, which is another great tool, for free with us.
Yep.
Absolutely free. So that's like right now. What I think a lot of companies better start recognizing, and agents, if you're paying right now your company a lot of money, you need to go look at that, because there's too many options out there where it's significantly less. Secondly, is that the real estate companies better figure it out. They better figure it out, man, because these companies out here, like Keller Williams, for example, not to knock the company, but I can tell you, I have a lot of Keller Williams agents joining us right now because of the fees, simply put. And right
Of
now,
course.
real estate agents cannot afford to pay these fees. It is that simple right now.
Dude, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yep, it is. And
It's
and,
gonna
and
be like
why?
that all over the place too.
It's funny, like I have mega agent teams joining me. And they said, Anthony, I'm joining because of the fees. Now, obviously, we offer a lot of things, but I'm like, why? And they're like, man, it's just a principle at this point. Like, why am I paying this company $150 a month? Why am I paying this company $100 a month? It's just the
Yep.
principle. And it's really neat to see that. And that's one thing we've pushed out there, Jason, is that less is more, and we get paid when you get paid. Like with our company, man, there is no startup fee. There is no monthly fee. There is no desk fee. You pay us when you make money. And it's something I'm sure we'll talk
Yep.
about, especially with the listing piece, like our listing power two pack, man. That's unmatched, and it's for free. We give it to you for free for
Yes.
every listing you take. Yep.
So let's yeah, we just finished up. It's 11 o'clock. Let's talk about one other thing real quick, man, then wrap it up. So let's say you are out there trying to get listings, right?
Yep.
And you're not with a company like you and I are that have, dude, our company, it has so many tools, right? And a lot of major
It's kind
franchises
of
have tools.
crazy. Yep.
But let's just say you're out there with, I don't know, some mom and pop or some really small franchise.
Oh, did we lose you? We lost your audio.
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me now? But
Yep.
so, how do you, if you're with one of these small brokerages, how do you make yourself stand out now? Do you,
I think I mean, there's a lot to do, but I mean, the fact is, I think the way you stand out, and this is again one of my opinions, is that you got to go get out and meet more people.
yeah,
You know,
it's
that is
got
the
to be a numbers
ultimate way I
game.
believe. It's a numbers game. Absolutely, real estate's a contact sport. Now, again, if you do the contacts and then you also do the social media post and the videos and all that, that's the way to stand out. You know, that is the way to stand out.
So I'll tell you what I've done in the past. I've worked at a lot of different size offices. I always tried to find that one thing, that one unique selling proposition, right?
Yep.
And when I was at, I'll go back through some offices and I'll tell you. So when I worked for Exit Realty in my market had been enormous, right? And they'd closed over $1 billion with a B worth of real estate here. So that was literally one of my things that I would mention several times. Hey, well, I work for Exit Realty. That's oh, well, all you guys are the same. No, no, we're not. You know what? Exit in our market, we've sold over $1 billion worth of real estate. So I know we can sell your house. We sold X number of houses last year. Office sold X number of houses last year. And when I was at Better Homes and Gardens, one of the things that I talked about was their magazine was sitting on 1 in 4 coffee tables in North America.
Yep.
And now we know that their single wide mobile home on lease land sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina ain't going to be at home, Better Homes and
Right.
Gardens,
Right.
but
Yep.
their website, their website got 8 million views a month. And, yeah, your house in $2 million, but it's going to show up in the search on the website. So I pitched the brand when I was at Keller Williams at the time. We were the biggest franchise in North America, and
Yep.
I talk about the network and stuff. EXP, EXP. I mean, this is over the course of 20 years. I hadn't
Yeah.
been on all these off. I hadn't been at 4 offices in 4 years. This is over the course
Right.
of
Right. Right.
20 years. I changed offices 4 or 5 times. Um, but when I was at EXP, I talked about the technology, and the same thing with LPT. I just moved there, and the thing I'm going to talk about is the technology and the rate of growth,
Yep.
right? And if you're at some little mom and pop, you got to really dig down deep and figure out, if you're at ABC Realty or whatever it's called, and
It's
you got to, hey,
it's hard to
where
leverage, Jason. I
real
mean,
estate, it
you're gonna
is.
get
It's hard to
yeah.
leverage. You got
I
to
don't.
really dig.
I'll put it to you this way. I don't understand why people do it other than loyalty. I get loyalty. Okay. I'm gonna say that. I don't understand why agents are staying with companies that don't offer them an income stream via revenue share and
Nope.
don't offer them stock options. I don't get it. I just met with a big team in Massachusetts, a Century 21 team. They sell 70 units a year and they get nothing other than the money. And I'm like, I
Yes.
just don't understand. Like, what is the reason you stay there? And I know, look, maybe I'm sure there's
They like
reasons.
that. They like that
Look, like
8% franchise
with
fee.
the EXPs, like, I sold a lot of homes. I had to buy a lot of stock at EXP, and I bought a lot of stock and did very well with it. At Keller Williams, I did well with profit share. At LPT
Yep.
right now, I'm doing really good with the revenue share, and the stock options are crazy. Right now, what we're getting stock given to us for selling houses. And it's like,
Yep.
meanwhile, you sit at this smaller mom and pop boutique. Why? I don't get it. I
You
just
know,
don't.
dude, you know what the crazy thing is about that mom and pop? I think that's the worst place for an agent to be going into the
Oh my
market
God.
we're going into.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Um,
they're gonna get. I hate to say this, man, but they're going to get annihilated. The bigger
you know
teams are
what?
going to kick your ass. The bigger brokerages are going to kick their ass. There is no doubt. You can't compete. Like, we have Inlet Beach Realty here. Go look up Inlet Beach, Florida. I live in a gorgeous part of the country right here, but they have this little small company and they got a killer little office called Inlet Beach Realty. Inlet Beach is about 2 blocks wide, 8 blocks deep. The average price point is about $5 million. Okay. But dude, they're only going to survive so long. I've done taken, let me say, 3 of their agents have joined us because what we're
Yep.
offering, and again, like, and the neat thing about that though, Jason, is something that we offer, man, as a company at LPT Realty, man. That Inlet Beach Realty can join us. There's 3 ways you can join us, man. There's 2 different commission models, but we have what's called our affiliate brokerage model, where Inlet Beach Realty can join us, partner with us, use our systems, use our tools, use our infrastructure, and literally still be Inlet Beach Realty. That's a game
Yep.
changer for the industry right now that we're putting into place. And so hopefully agents start to recognize that. And what I've had happen is that these agents are seeing what we offer, and then they're going to their brokers and going, hey, these guys are going to kick our ass. They're doing something really cool and fun and exciting and giving us a lot of options. And either
Mhm.
we can join them or we compete against them. And people are joining.
Yep. You know what, man? That little office too. When they start going through a cash crunch, first thing they're going to do is turn to their agents and go, "Hey, we know
Yeah.
you've been getting 80%, but look, we've
Yeah, we
readjusted our
can.
commission structure. They're
Yep.
going to offer
I had
you
one the other
something.
day, Jason. They
Not
went to
going to be a big
190.
deal."
They had a
Yep.
$195 monthly fee. They were at a $95 monthly fee. Now they're $195. You look at JPAR. JPAR, I think, literally added an additional $395 to every transaction they're doing now. And again, it's like, man, that's wild to me. That's wild.
Yep. Well, man, I
So,
appreciate you doing this call with me today. And guys,
yeah,
if you
buddy.
guys have any questions, anything that you need help with, feel free to reach out to me or Anthony if you're interested in information about LPT. We're available. Happy to talk with you. Happy to talk with you about the situation that you're currently in with your office. So hopefully there was a few gems in this conversation you can pull out of here and help you make some money this coming week and the rest of the year.
Yep. Let's do it. All right, guys. Well, look,
Hey,
good to
thanks,
see y'all.
guys.
If you need anything, let me know. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, appreciate it. Bye.